The twin steer bus. While it may have been a popular choice in countries such as the UK and Australia, the concept was also tried in Japan. And it was a twin steer like no other. This is the story of the Mitsubishi Fuso MR430, the monster six-wheeled bus of northern Japan. Hi, this is Jeffrey. The subject of twin steer buses is a very popular one. I've done several videos on the subject, such as the Duple Viceroy and the Harrington Legionnaire, as well as another video on twin steers that are not Bedford Val buses. Now, not only do twin steers exist in the UK, or they did exist in the UK and in other places such as Australia, but they did exist also in northern Japan. And that's what we're going to look at in this video. A twin steer that existed on the island of Hokkaido. It was the Mitsubishi Fuso MR430, and it was a really massive bus, and it was a really interesting bus that looked like it was something out of an Ultraman movie. So let's get started in taking a look at the Mitsubishi Fuso MR430. While six-wheel buses and coaches with up-front twin-steer axles were common in countries such as the UK in the 1960s, the concept was also tried in more extreme locales such as northern Japan. Operators and manufacturers chose this configuration for numerous reasons, from government-required axle loading limits to smaller diameter tires needed for lowering step height to increased steering traction on poorly maintained roads. Japanese bus companies also faced many of the same tests of endurance. Bus manufacturers in Japan were still building heavy body-on-frame models in the early to mid-1960s. If a new but larger than normal bus was to be built, it would require tandem front wheels to meet axle loading mandates. But in this case, the twin steer setup was also a major benefit during the long winters of Hokkaido, providing improved steering adhesion on the snow and ice-covered roads. Therefore, these features would be essential for a new, higher-capacity bus for several operators needing such a vehicle on Japan's island of Hokkaido. The result was unique, bizarre, and imposing, all at the same time. Making its debut in 1963 and looking like something out of an Ultraman movie, the Mitsubishi Fuso MR430 transit bus oozes retro-futuristic strangeness with formidable dimensions and hints of General Motors styling. A total of only 14 were built for 3 railway companies that provided bus service, which were number 1, JNR Bus, number 2, Nagoya Railways, and number 3, Asahikawa Bus, which later merged with Asahikawa Electric Railway. 2 body styles were built that appeared to borrow from American bus design elements of the era. Mitsubishi contracted out the bodies to the following 2 manufacturers. Number 1, Korea, for a total of 3. This body had angled windows, which resembled those on American GM and flexible new-look transit buses of the 1960s. Number 2, Fuji Heavy Industries, for a total of 11. These bodies more resembled the GM old-look buses of the 1950s. All bodies were of riveted construction and had a front entrance folding double door and either a center entrance with a single sliding door or 4-part folding door. Built from 1963 to 1965, they arrived when most Japanese buses were of the front-engined bonnet type and typically measured 11 meters or 36 feet in length or less. The MR430's flat front and unusual axle configuration with the engine at the rear was remarkable enough, but the bus was also huge by Japanese standards. It measured 12 meters or 39.6 feet long, which was the Japanese mandated maximum length, and could carry 110 passengers, about 50% more than a typical Japanese bus of the era. Each bus had seats for about 46 passengers, with mainly longitudinal seating. It was powered by a Mitsubishi DB34 8.5-liter four-cycle inline diesel six-cylinder engine located in the rear longitudinally, putting out 215 horsepower and 510 foot-pounds of torque through a 5-speed manual transmission. In operation, the buses ran during rush hour, putting its passenger carrying capacity to use. Unfortunately, their large size and the wide turning radius limited their usefulness. In 1978, the buses were withdrawn from service and sold off. There are actually at least two MR430s in existence, and one example has recently undergone a full restoration. In 2021, Asahikawa Railway celebrated its 100th anniversary and began looking for an MR430 to restore. It was able to track a Korea-bodied example through 3 successive owners since the company let it go. The first had used it as a storage unit on a mountain ranch. The second owner found it there, and at the time, the railway had made an offer to restore it, but the deal fell through. It then passed into the hands of the third owner, who kept it at a small shop near Tokyo. Asahikawa Railway was able to get it back, but it had been stored outside for nearly 40 years, and it showed. The roof had been sunken in by heavy snow. Its unique riveted panels had rusted away, and the front bumper was bent. The railway decided to rebuild each body panel, removing all 3,000 rivets and restoring the panels to reskin the exterior. Luckily, the engine survived without much damage and could be restored. After about a year, the restoration was finally complete. The bus passed inspection on September 27, 2022. The Asahikawa MR430 will now serve as a special tour bus and rolling piece of history. There is reportedly one more example located in Kyoto, but it is not drivable. It's great to see that such a rare and unique piece of automotive history will live on for others to see. A railway representative said, "We want people to learn about the evolution of buses as public transportation." So, there it is, the story of the Japanese Mitsubishi Fuso MR430 twin-steer bus. Now, what also makes this bus very interesting and unique is that at the time it was built, it may have been the only rear-engined twin-steer bus in existence, because all of the other twin steers at the time, such as the Bedford Val, were front-engined. So that's another aspect to this vehicle that makes it really unique. Now, will the other twin steer MR430 be restored? We don't know. Hopefully, maybe one day it will. But at this point, we're not sure. So, anyway, I hope you enjoyed this look at the Mitsubishi Fuso MR430. And as always, thank you so much for watching, and have a great day. Bye.